everyone, my name is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly and we are back to preview another massive game. Before we get into it, as always, please do hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're on the way to 1,000 subscribers now, so thank you so much for all support. Really do appreciate it. And also, if you're watching as a video and didn't manage to catch the live stream, not to worry. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section down below as well. I interact with all your comments, so please do get involved in the comment section down below. And if you want to, feel free to share the streams on your social media platforms. And we've got a few people in the live chat already. Tom, Footy Live, thanks for joining, Tom. Appreciate it. And thank you very much for the love for hitting 900 subscribers. Really do appreciate it. It's my achievement, but at the same time, it's your achievement as well. You guys got me to this position, so thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in, turning up to the streams, and giving their support to the channel. So thank you so much for that. And we've also got Connor joining us as well. I'm doing well, Connor. Hopefully you're doing well. And also Dazza, thanks for joining. Make sure you do check out Dazza's channel as well. Brilliant stuff over there. He says, "Hi mate, can't stay sadly as I'm doing Bayern versus Firth at the moment. All the best though." Yeah, no worries mate, no worries. Honestly, the fact you popped in is great in itself, so thank you very much. And if you do want to tune into that, make sure you do. I'm sure it'll be riveting. Bayern Munich games are always exciting these days, so I'm sure it'll be riveting. And I appreciate the love, Connor. Appreciate the love and support from you, my friend. And also make sure to check out Yang Talking Smack. Great stuff over there if you want some more Man United content, but also general sports content, a bit F1 as well. So if you want some great sports content over there, go check it out on Yang Talking Smack. But we're going to start straight away, get into it by talking about Aston Villa, talking about our opponents on a Saturday afternoon. And you know what? It's not going to be easy. They've hit a little bit of form recently, and you know what? I think they've, as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said in his press conference, I actually think they probably deserved a few more points than they've got this season. They currently sit 10th in the Premier League with 7 points, 3 losses and 2 wins this season so far. And I actually think they haven't been too bad. I don't think they've been to the expectation of a lot of people. I think some people are expecting them more around 8th and 7th position, especially with the money they're able to invest in the squad because of the Jack Grealish transfer. But they have actually done alright this season. In terms of the way they played, they've actually played pretty well. And obviously their last game was a very impressive 3-0 win over Everton. And it was, well, actually, sorry, no, their last Premier League win was a 2-1 win over Everton. And it was an unbelievable result really for them. And they played so well. They obviously were able to beat. Well, they drew 1-1 with Brentford before and at home, and so they did beat Everton 3-0, by the way. I completely got that wrong. That's why it threw me off. But I did get that right. They did beat Everton 3-0, and it was a very impressive performance. But yeah, this season, I think some of their performances haven't actually got them the points that they deserved, which in some ways is good for us, but in other ways they will be looking to really put the pressure on us at Old Trafford. By the way, I've welcomed a few people. RJ, thanks for joining, appreciate it. Make sure to check out his channel as well. And also, Let's Talk Premier League, make sure you check it out, great stuff over there. He also says Bailey is out, and as well as others, it's going to be a W. I like the way you're thinking, RJ. I like the way you're thinking, mate. I hope your confidence comes through. But I feel like it's not going to be easy. I think if you look at the last 2 fixtures we played, especially in the Premier League against Aston Villa at Old Trafford, it's been 2-2 and 2-1. You know, we always have a pretty difficult battle against them, and I think Aston Villa will be looking to make it difficult for us. But they do have injuries, as RJ has pointed out. They do have a few injuries. I think Leon Bailey, who looked quality in their win over Everton, won't be playing in this one, so they will be a little bit light going forward. But you know, if they can defend well, and recently we have been struggling against low blocks, if they can defend well, it's going to be difficult for us. So it's going to be a battle, no doubt about it. Rich has joined us. Thanks for joining, Rich. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Make sure to check out his channel as well. Brilliant stuff over there on Rich Sports. But yeah, I think we are looking at a side here in Aston Villa who have some great individual players, Danny Ings of course being one of them. John McGinn can run the midfield as well. He's had a few decent performances against us. Matty Cash is in great form. He's someone who, not just defensively, but going forward, is a bit of a menace. He can really put a ball in from that right hand side. And obviously, you know, as I said before, you know, Danny Ings, these guys, and obviously we can't face Axel Tuanzebe, but he is obviously the one Manchester United connection. Of course, Ashley Young will be making his return to Old Trafford after we got rid of him to Aston Villa. Before that, obviously, he was at Inter Milan. So, Ashley Young will be coming back to the Theatre of Dreams, and I'm sure he'll get some sort of reception. I'm not sure what sort of reception it will be. I think it'll be a fairly decent one, to be fair, considering he actually nearly served the club for about 8 years. I think he came in 2011-12, so he's been at the club for a long time. He was nearly at the club long enough for a testimonial, so I'm sure he'll get a decent reception, Ashley Young. Hopefully he doesn't do the job against us and score against us or anything like that, although you always think with Manchester United those sort of events are written in the stars, but I hope he doesn't do that. I hope we obviously get the win, but he will be playing against us. Axel Tuanzebe can't play against us because he is on loan from the club. But yeah, let's see a few more of your comments. Connor says, will be putting out my first video in a while, my thoughts on the current state of footy. Man, make sure to check that out. Make sure to check that out, guys, if you haven't already. Go and check out his channel. Great stuff over there. He's also predicting a 3-1 win, and his lineup is De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Varane, Maguire, Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Bruno, Pogba, Ronaldo, and Mason Greenwood as the forward line. So, a pretty strong team. I mean, obviously, you've got McTominay and Fred in there, which a lot of United fans are going to probably yawn at. But I think if you're going to predict a lineup with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, McTominay and Fred is a pretty safe bet at the moment. Obviously, they got played in the game at West Ham, and they didn't. I don't think they had a terrible game. I thought McTominay actually played really well on his return to the team. He actually played pretty well. Fred has just not been playing well recently, ever since the start of the season, and even previous to that, even before the last season ended, he wasn't really playing his best football. So, yeah, Fred needs to sharpen up a little bit, but I think McTominay will definitely keep his place, and I think he deserves to keep his place in this team. Connor also says, we have deserved better than we've gotten in most, if not all of our games this year. I think you're right for most of them. I think the one I'd probably disagree with, probably the Young Boys game. I think in that game we really weren't good. Obviously Ronaldo scored the goal in the first half, but to have 2 shots on target in a whole 90 minutes against Young Boys just isn't really good enough. But I think most of the games I can understand where you're coming from. I think the West Ham game, I thought we probably did enough to just be the best team on the night. I think the Wolves game, you could argue we were kind of peppered by Wolves, and Wolves did have a lot of the possession and a lot of the chances. Mason Greenwood coming up with the goods, and in the end of the day, if we win the league this season, we won't be going back to that Wolves game and saying, oh, we won the game but we got battered. Another 3 points in the bag, and it's simple as that. 3 points is all that matters. If we won every single game by winning 1-0, it really wouldn't matter to me. All that matters is that we get the 3 points and we go up places in the league and we put pressure on those around us. And tomorrow also serves as a very good opportunity for us to do that. If you look at the other game on the afternoon kickoff, or the mid-afternoon kickoff, or the early kickoff, as they call it, Chelsea-Man City. Now, I don't understand why they've done that, and I've got a bit of a bone to pick really with the Premier League, because that is the sort of game that after a 3-0 comfortable victory, you put your feet up and you go, you know what, we can watch our rivals, and it's a brilliant game. Unfortunately, it's going to be happening at the exact same time as the United game, so we can't do much about that. But it is what it is, and obviously the schedulers, they've got reasons for doing stuff. I don't know those reasons, but I'm sure they've got reasons for it. RJ says we just need to keep Ings quiet, and that's obviously easier said than done. He's a very, very good striker, but we have done it in the past. However, he has got a pretty decent record of scoring against us, so I'm sure he'll want to add to his account in an Aston Villa shirt. He obviously scored probably the goal of the month. In fact, I think it was given goal of the month of September with his bicycle kick he scored. He's a brilliant goal scorer, there's no doubt about it. And that's why he's being linked to us in the summer. Some people are saying that actually, in terms of a kind of backup striker, Danny Ings wouldn't be the worst option. I'm happy he didn't go for him, obviously, but I think he's not a bad player. There's no doubt about it. Connor says, at least we don't have the flopping wanker Grealish this time against Villa. Yeah, obviously Jack Grealish, he caused some problems for us at Old Trafford last time he played there. But yeah, that obviously helps that you're not stopping and starting all the time. And we've got a few players in our midfield who do give the ball away quite a few times. Owen, thanks for joining us. They'll play young. They know how the Prem works with the storylines. Yeah, exactly. You know, Ashley Young is definitely going to be starting this game. I think he's captaining Aston Villa. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was captain in the week for the Carabao Cup game. So, yeah, listen, Ashley Young obviously will want to, you know, perform well. He was obviously let go by Man United because they felt like he was too old. Ollie didn't think he was in his plans. And to be honest with you, I think none of us can really complain with that decision. But I'm sure he'll want to come back to Old Trafford and have a very, very good game. Matthew also says, no diagrams on the scorebook. Thanks for joining, Matthew, as well. Appreciate it. Indeed, there isn't. Rich also says, why put on a game between two teams with small fan base on the same time as Man United game? I like your thinking, Rich. I like that. But yeah, in all seriousness, though, I would have loved to have watched that game without having to think about the Man United result. But unfortunately, you know, sometimes life doesn't give you those lemons. You know, sometimes life is harsh, and you know it's another first world problem. It's a even bigger first world problem, to be honest. It's something even smaller than a first world problem. That one really, but yeah, you know, it's annoying. It's a football fan problem, that one. Connor said, I'd rather have Ings than Martial. Yeah, I'm not going to lie, right now, I probably would. In their primes, I'd still have Martial, but I think right now, yeah, Martial's really not played well. It's been a difficult one for him. And obviously as well, coming back into the squad, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference for this game has said that Ed will be in the squad. So with Cavani coming back in, it's going to be difficult to see Martial come back in as well, or even compete for his place when you've got Ronaldo and Cavani all competing for the same position. It's going to be difficult for Martial to get back into it, and he's going to have to hope that his form in the cup competitions, the FA Cup mainly, is going to help him get back into the side, because I just don't see how with those two players, plus Mason Greenwood as well, who can play in that position, I don't see how he's going to get back into the side. But it's going to be a big effort from him, and I think I wouldn't be surprised if he left this summer. I'm going to make that prediction now if Martial was to leave, because I know that obviously Ronaldo and Cavani, they're only going to be here for a short term. They're both 36 years old. But I just think Martial, obviously he's not getting any younger. He's still got time to develop. He's still 25, 26. But realistically, I don't see him being at the club for another 2 seasons. I really don't see that. So I think we will probably see Martial leave this summer. That's my prediction. But enough on Martial. Matthew says, I won't be able to watch the game, so I'm relying on a thorough, informative synopsis from you. Well, you're relying on the wrong man, but I'll do my best. Rich says, funniest football meltdown, Pep, no fans versus Delia, Lesby Avenue. That's a great one. Get your thoughts in the comments on that one. And Connor says he reckons Delia has it. Cackle every time I watch it. It's an iconic Premier League clip. There's no doubt about it. But let's talk a little bit about Manchester United and the team we might put out tomorrow afternoon. I keep thinking it's morning because it's the early kickoff, but it's actually the afternoon. 12:45 kickoff, if you're not aware, but I'm sure you're aware. But I think in terms of what we're going to see from this team, Ollie didn't really hint too much about the team selection in his press conference, other than obviously saying that Cavani is fit enough to be in the squad. I think we'll go back to what we saw against Newcastle. I think it'll be a very, very similar lineup. Although I think Scott McTominay will come back into the side, and I thought actually he was very, very good in his last game. I thought when he came back into that game against West Ham, he played very, very well. I saw a video breaking down his performance, because sometimes when you watch games, you can't really watch individual players. But actually, when I watched that video breaking down his performance, you realise he was fantastic. His ball retention was good. I thought some of the passes he made were really good. And he seems to be getting better and better. Now, I know there's some United fans who still don't think he's good enough. And I personally think at this moment in time, I don't think McTominay is a title-winning midfielder. I wouldn't say that McTominay is, top 5 midfielders in the league. I wouldn't go that far. But I actually think out of the midfielders we've got, out of the central defensive midfielders that we have in our team, I would rather McTominay play over Matic and Fred. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, that's just my opinion, but I actually think McTominay's come on a little bit. I do think we still have to see consistency from him. Obviously, that was just one good performance we saw. We do need to see a bit of consistency before we can make that final judgment. But I actually think McTominay played pretty well. I thought he played well. Avram Glaze has joined us. That's a turn up for the books. He says, life really comes to you fast. United fans went from absolute ecstasy to complete and utter despair within the span of 2 weeks. Oh, how the turntables. I don't know what that's referencing to be honest, but thanks for joining, Avram. Appreciate it. I'm sure you got a lot more on your plate to worry about than watching me, but cheers for joining anyway. Connor says, bring back Isak for Martial next summer. Well, it might not be the worst shout. It might not be the worst shout in the world, to be fair. I'm not sure how much money we would get stiffed for him, though. I reckon we'd be at least 50, 60 million. He is a quality player, but, I think, obviously, in an ideal world, we'd be able to bring him in, but unfortunately, I just don't think we've got the money for him. And I think, especially in the January and the summer transfer windows, we'll be looking elsewhere in terms of priorities for who we need to bring in. Connor says, McTominay is a great player to have come off your bench, just a title-winning squad, not a starter, but deserving of at least being on the bench. He's improving and working hard on his game. And I'd have to agree. With that. I think if you look at where McTominay was when he first came into the team to where he is now, it's chalk and cheese. And I think, he's looking good. That's the one thing I would say. And the only thing I would say against that is the idea that we haven't seen the consistency from Scott McTominay. He does provide a run of good performances usually. Like, he will provide a very strong run of decent performances. But realistically, we need to see a consistent season of quality performances. I think he's 23, 24 now. He's kind of similar to Rashford's age. So, he needs to start... we need to start seeing more consistent performances from him. But he started the season well with that performance against West Ham, and after a lengthy injury, you do need to have a good performance to really announce yourself back into the team, and I think he did that, and I think Ollie noticed that as well. Jonathan Johnson, thanks for joining anyway, he says, and finally the champ is here. Man United ain't winning a trophy this season. We'll see about that, John. We'll see about that. Ollie tax is real. Hey, it's only one cup competition, mate. It's only one cup competition. We'll be back. Don't worry about that. You enjoy your 3-0 win over Wimbledon, mate. You enjoy that. But we'll be back. Don't worry about that. Connor says, fast shout out for 30 and Isak in for 20. I tell you what, mate. I wish you were in charge of the finances of the club, but I just doubt that's going to happen. Yeah, I think in terms of the lineup, I'm going to go a De Gea in goal. The back four picks itself is a beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen, because I think for the past 3 or 4 years I've been covering Man United on this channel, I don't think I've ever really been able to say that the back four picks itself. But finally, this season, we're seeing some stability at the back. And I think the back four does pick itself. Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane, and Luke Shaw at the left back. I think he will go with McTominay and Fred. This is obviously a prediction. This is not necessarily what I want to see. I think this is a prediction of what I think Ollie's going to go with. I am going to go with McTominay and Fred. I think he played it against West Ham. We got the 3 points. And usually when we get the 3 points, Ollie doesn't change it. He does take the if it ain't broke, don't fix it approach. And I think he will do that again. I think we'll see Sancho on that left-hand side. I think we'll see Fernandes, and I think we'll see Greenwood, and I think we'll see Cristiano Ronaldo up front. Now, the one thing I would say that is a bit contentious about that lineup is whether Pogba plays on that left-hand side. Because let's face it, Pogba should be playing every single game. 7 assists so far this season. And I think he does make us better going forward. So I think realistically, that's the one where I think I could be wrong. There could be a bit of change there. Sancho obviously hasn't really been performing that great recently. I'm not, saying he's a flop or anything, unlike some United fans, and most rival fans at this point think Sancho's a flop. But you know what? He's got a lot of time to develop, and I think we should give him at least half a season, at least, a decent run of games in the team before we start judging players. Do you really think Jadon Sancho needs the pressure of his own fans starting to, mumble in the crowd saying he's a flop? He doesn't need that. And I know everyone's got their opinion and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Trust me, 100%. Everyone's entitled to their opinion on football. It is only football in the end of the day. But, for me, Jadon Sancho has got a lot of time to develop. He's still only 21. He's still young. He's still got a lot of time to adapt to this league, and I believe he will do that because he's a good enough player. We've seen it in the Bundesliga. We've seen how good he can be for England as well. He will develop into a fantastic player in this league. There's no doubt in my mind about that. And if I am wrong, then I'll be very, very disappointed, but I don't think I will be. Connor's asking, John, do you think Arsenal wins the derby on the weekend? Some cracking games on the weekend, I've got to say. I wish it was a bit of a Super Sunday. I wish they took the Chelsea and City game and put it on Super Sunday with Arsenal Spurs. What a hell of a Sunday that would be. What a hell of a bit of Sunday viewing. Unfortunately, they couldn't do that. John says, you haven't been back since 2017, so stop being so deluded. Ole tax is real. It is the biggest tax in the world. I'm pretty sure you'll find that's VAT, mate. But I think in the end of the day, people will criticise Ole, and this is the thing. I think you can criticise Ole for not winning a trophy up to this point. We've had a few chances. What was it, 5 semi-finals, 6 semi-finals he's been in, and we still haven't got a trophy. We have actually made it to a final as well. So there is a little bit of pressure that needs to be put on Ole for not winning a trophy. But in the end of the day, you can't judge a manager until the end of the season, in my opinion. And even though he's got a brilliant squad of players, and whether you believe that we should be playing better than we are right now or we shouldn't, for me, you can only really judge what Ole has done, and at the end of the season, I don't think you should be judging him 5 or 6 games in. I really, really don't. Connor also says, if not for the Champions League goal, Havertz would still be known as a flop. Give Sancho half a season to adapt and get in. Yeah, exactly. Listen, players from the Bundesliga notoriously take a long time to develop. Obviously, Aubameyang did pretty well. He did come in, but apart from him, I can't see many players that have come from the Bundesliga and set the Premier League alight straight away. I'm sure there's been a few in history, but I can't remember too many players really. So it's not easy. It's not easy, and I know we did pay a lot of money for him. I know he's on a pretty high salary, and you'd expect better performances, but I think once that chemistry's there, I think there is a little bit of a lack of understanding and a lack of chemistry in that forward line right now. But when it clicks, we'll have a very, very strong forward line. I really do believe that. So yeah, that's my lineup that I'd mentioned. You can rewind it if you want to know what it is. I'll say it again actually for you guys. It's De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Varane and Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Sancho, Fernandes and Mason Greenwood and Cristiano Ronaldo up front. That is my lineup. Let me know your thoughts on it in the live chat. Let me know your lineups as well. I want to hear what you guys have to say because you guys are the most important people, as I've said before. Connor says Alba was different gravy when he was coming from Borussia Dortmund. I agree. As I said, apart from him, I can't see too many players that have come in and really set the world alight. I will say that Henrik Mkhitaryan, when he came to the club, his first kind of few months were brilliant. I think he scored like 7 or 8 goals in 10, 11 games. He was very, very good in his first few games. But he ended up being our Europa League saviour basically. But apart from the Europa League, he would never really do anything. So I think Mkhitaryan's one of those players who didn't really fulfil his potential at Manchester United. We bought him as the Bundesliga Player of the Year, and then he went out and just got traded for Arsenal for Alexis Sanchez. Might be one of the worst transfers in football history in terms of the hype it received and the lack of performance on the pitch. So yeah, I think coming from the Bundesliga is difficult, and I think I was actually talking on Rich's stream yesterday. Make sure to check out Rich's stream as well on his channel. Great stuff. We did a Aston Villa preview. I was actually on with Owen as well, so always good fun. Make sure to check that out. But I was on that stream yesterday, and we were talking about how Sancho was getting on and whether people were putting too much pressure on him. And I think the point was made that, I think the idea that Bruno Fernandes came into Manchester United and hit the ground running as he did straight away and basically ensured that we got Champions League football has kind of skewed Manchester United fans' ideas and even just football fans in general ideas about what impact signings should make. And not very many players come into a brand new league, especially when players coming into the Premier League from a foreign league, they don't usually have that sort of impact straight away, and Bruno Fernandes had that impact. And I think a lot of players were expecting Jadon Sancho to have the exact same impact. Obviously Ronaldo has come in and scored 4 goals in 3 games, but he is just an absolute phenomenon. He is just a class apart in terms of scoring goals. Even when he's not playing well, he can always just pop up with a goal. So he's just on a different planet. But obviously, Jadon Sancho is a little bit different, and I believe he will adapt to this league. There's no doubt about it. But I think players these days are very quick, or fans are very quick to turn on players these days. There's no doubt about it. So yeah, Rich says, will Saka have to leave Arsenal if he ever wants to play Champions League football? Obviously, John can answer that question better than me, but I think you're right. Connor also mentions that Varane is my underrated signing of the summer in terms of cost and need plus performance. Yeah, he's been brilliant, and I think one of the best things about it is the fact that he's going under the radar. Not a lot of pundits or TV media people are talking about Varane. They're not really talking about the impact he's having, but us as fans have all noticed how good he looks in that backline and how he really does make it look a lot more solid. Yes, you can laugh at the fact that obviously we conceded against West Ham. We've looked shaky a little bit this season, even with Varane at the back, but if you actually look at most of the games where Varane's played, we've only actually conceded one goal, and the goal against West Ham was a deflected shot. Now, I know they did have a few more chances, but in the end of the day, I think Varane has made a visible difference in that backline. Maguire is the one that hasn't really started that well this season. He has looked a little bit shaky, but as I said, once that partnership gels, I'm sure we'll be looking at a very, very solid partnership there. Mo, thanks for joining anyway. I know you can only be here for a little short period of time, but thank you so much for dropping in, mate. Really do appreciate it. He says, gotta bounce back tomorrow, lad. We need to start games quicker. Actually, sorry, I read that wrong. Actually, no. Thanks for joining, Mo. That you're going to leave straight away, but I thought, for some reason, I thought it said, I've got to bounce, but you said, got tomorrow, so I apologise for that. But yeah, got to bounce back tomorrow. I agree. I totally agree. We have to get back to winning ways, and I think the best thing to do is to be positive. We have to come out of the traps hard. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in his press conference has mentioned that we will look to be on the front foot against Aston Villa. We have to take the game to them because they will sit off us a little bit, and the last thing we want to do is invite pressure on us. And I know we're very good at counter-attacking. I know under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer we have been very, very strong under the counter-attack. And actually, when going behind, we've rescued 34 points from going behind under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So it's incredible. It's an incredible record. But it's only so many times you can do that and get away with it. Look at the Carabao Cup game in midweek. We went behind very, very early on in the game. And I think a lot of United fans were thinking, well, we always come back from behind, so we're probably not in too much trouble. But obviously we lost the game 1-0, and that can happen. It just takes a really solid defensive performance from the other team, and all of a sudden you're struggling. So it's about how you deal with that. And we do need to start games quicker, and I think that's the way we've got to go about it. Connor says, my player I'm worried about going against Villa is Martinez in net. How did Arsenal let him go, he says. Yeah, he looks a brilliant goalkeeper, and I think Arsenal have got the wrong one. They sold him, brought in Leno, and now Leno's sitting on the bench for Aaron Ramsdale, who, to be fair, a lot of Arsenal fans have been saying he's been doing pretty well for Arsenal. But for me, Martinez was quality, especially in that FA Cup run they had. He was brilliant. Obviously, they got rid of him, and I don't think it was the right decision. I know potentially if Ramsdale comes good, they'll be saying, what are we worrying about? The proof's in the pudding. But for me, I don't think it was the right decision. I really, really don't. But he is a brilliant goalkeeper and is someone who is a prime candidate to have an absolute masterclass at Old Trafford. You've got some goalkeepers that turn up to Old Trafford every season, a handful of them, and just have an absolute day out. And I wouldn't be surprised if Martinez did as well. Connor says, how many first-team goals did Arsenal score in August in the Premier League, John? John obviously can answer that one himself. Mo says, same with the young boys. Granted, we had Cristiano Ronaldo to pull one back, but we conceded. We need to stop those first-half goals. Well, exactly. And, in the end of the day, we have conceded a lot of sloppy goals this season. If you look at a lot of the goals we conceded, I can't think of many which were unavoidable. I mean, the goal that Ayling scored against us in the first game of the season, it was an absolutely fantastic strike. You can't take anything away from that. But actually, most of the goals we conceded have been avoidable and have just been because of a lack of defensive concentration. The goal that we conceded against West Ham the other night, obviously, a bit of poor marking from Van der Beek. He should have stayed with his man, and we obviously let the crosser go through us. It was a good goal, good finish, obviously, not taking any credit away from the West Ham players, but it's those types of goals. The deflected goal, obviously, that goes past De Gea, which it's difficult to do something about that, but I think also the fact that we didn't really close him down close him down enough didn't help. And you look at the Newcastle goal, just a breakaway where we got overloaded. So the goals we have conceded, I mean, the young boys' goals, the second goal, you don't need to say much about that, to be honest. It was the most unavoidable goal in the history of unavoidable goals. I think realistically, most of the goals we do concede are unavoidable, and that's the worst thing about it. Thanks for joining, Naveen. Appreciate it. He's gone very confident. A 7-0 win incoming for Manchester United. Thanks for joining, Naveen. I appreciate that positivity coming from you. I hope so. And you know what? Every season there's always one game like that. So hopefully it's this one. I wouldn't mind that. Hopefully we see a draw in the other game. We win by a big margin. That would be a perfect start to our Saturday. It really, really would. And then we can look forward to that North London derby. Just a bit of light entertainment for us. None of them really going for our spot at the top of the league. Just a bit of light entertainment. Hopefully that's how it plays out. Connor also says, if I am an Arsenal fan, I'd rather have Martinez and Ramsdale than Leno and Ramsdale. Yeah, I agree. I fully agree with that. But anyway, let me know your score predictions now, ladies and gentlemen. We come to that stage in the show where we want to hear from you. We want to hear your score predictions. Let me know in the live chat. I'll give you mine right now. And then you guys can follow my lead and we'll see if great minds think alike. But anyway, I'm going to give you my score prediction. I think it's going to be close. I really do. I think it's going to be a close game. I think Aston Villa are going to come to play. Not saying that they never, don't come to play, but I think, with the players they've got, Danny Ings is going to be a constant threat. I know Leon Bailey isn't really playing, or I think he's injured, obviously, so, he's not going to be able to cause problems. But, they've got some decent players in there. They've got some great personnel. I think it's going to be 2-1 to Manchester United. I think it's going to be close. I think the result will mimic what happened last season. And I'm not expecting a vintage performance. I'm really not. I think Aston Villa, even though their defence has been a little bit shaky this season, they are capable of just, defending solidly as a unit. And actually, even though you can probably look on paper and look at the individuals and say, we should be putting 3 or 4 past them, they're actually pretty strong. I know Owen's actually mentioned there about Ronaldo versus Mings, and I'm sure that's going to be an interesting showdown, especially in the box when it comes to tussling and pushing and pulling. But I think it'll be 2-1 United. I think Aston Villa will put up a really good fight, and I think it'll be a very back and forth game. The good thing is that no neutral is going to be watching that game. Everyone's going to be watching Chelsea Man City, so we won't have the eyes on us. Hopefully that'll help. Naveen says, I don't feel we have lost a match with our team yet. Our A team yet, sorry. Come on, loss against young boys with 10 men, United, and we went all the way, we went all Jose way after red card. Yeah, that was the kind of story of the game. I think we should have done a lot better anyway to deal with the fact we had 10 men. But there is also an argument to say that when you do go down to 10 men, it is very, very difficult to deal with at times. And, even though we did go down to 10 men, I will say it was young boys. You would have expected us to at least hold on for a point. And I think we were too negative. We were too negative with the tactics. And that is one game where I did have to criticise Ole and say, you know what, he did get that completely wrong. Obviously, if we held out for a draw and Jesse Lingard didn't play that pass, I think a lot of people would have been like, you know what, away from home in Europe, I know it's young boys and we should have done better, but we got a point. But obviously, it didn't work out that way. And sometimes life doesn't. Sometimes life's harsh. But in the end of the day, you just got to do what you got to do, haven't you? Yank says, John, you won't even get top half this year. He also goes with 3-1 to Manchester United. And Mo says the exact same thing with a 3-1 scoreline in his opinion. And Rich also goes 3-1. So we've got a hat-trick of 3-1 predictions in the live chat. Mo also says that we need a Sancho goal desperately. I don't care if it's a 4-yard screamer of a deflected tap-in. Just get it in the back of the net already, lad. Yeah, that pretty well sums up everyone's feelings. I mean, every football fan's feelings, really, when they're supporting their team. But yeah, Sancho, we would love to see a goal for Sancho. I think there's a lot of pressure piling on him from the media. I saw Sky Sports after the West Ham game where he put up some bad numbers saying, will he ever, make his form at Old Trafford? Will he ever hit the ground running at Old Trafford, and there's obviously a lot of those articles coming out, and as time goes on and as these performances and these blanks keep stacking up, there will be more of those. And it's unfortunate at the highest level of football, you're always going to get that sort of pressure, especially when you have that price tag weighing over your head. So yeah, it's unfortunate for him, but I think he will bounce back. Connor says, think Mr. and Mrs. Inevitable, Ronaldo and Bruno, along with Greenwood to score for us, Ings to score for Aston Villa. I think that's a pretty safe prediction. Navino says the home match and our A team will be back. At least 3 goals. Villa should shit their pants from Old Trafford crowd. I hope you're right, Naveen. I hope you're right. But you know what? Villa have been there before in front of a full Old Trafford. They've been there before and they've drawn the game 2-2. So, a crowd doesn't faze these guys. These guys have played in front of raucous crowds in their career. So, a crowd won't faze these guys. No way. Rich says, we'll talk about this game on Sunday stream. Yeah, should be good, mate. Should be good. Looking forward to watching that. And Owen says he reckons it'll be 3-1 as well. 4 3-1 predictions in the live chat this evening. It's a very popular scoreline, it seems. And he goes with Ronaldo and McTominay with a goal. So 2 from Cristiano, 1 from Scott McTominay. Scott Zidane, as we like to call him around these parts. As I said, I like that. I've just gone a little bit more conservative because I just feel that Aston Villa are going to make it into a proper scrap. They're going to make it into a proper scrap. Don't worry about that. So yeah, Naveen's going Ronaldo hat-trick, Van de Beek scoring a screamer. I tell you what, the odds on that will be long as hell. They'll be long as the day is long. So if you want to put a bet on that, I don't endorse betting, but if you want to put a bet on that, I'm sure you make a lot of money from it. Matthew also says, if McTominay scores, I will walk to Leeds. Well, we've seen it on stream. You can screenshot that. If McTominay does bag tomorrow, and we've seen him score before. It's not as if he's never scored a goal for us. He scored 2 against Leeds. He scored against Lampson. That is a bold prediction in my opinion. That is a bold prediction. So we'll see. We'll hopefully hold Matthew to that if he does score, because it's on stream now. It's on YouTube forever, that prediction. So hopefully for him it doesn't come true, but hopefully for us, we'd love to see that vlog, wouldn't we, ladies and gentlemen? Naveen says, Ronaldo really isn't here for a vacation. He'll demand from the team. He'll be pissed off and he will bloody score. I like the venom in that comment, Naveen. I love that. And I think he is. You could see, after we lost that game against Young Boys, he wasn't happy. And I know people will say, yeah, of course he wouldn't be happy. It's not special. But I think he's just got a brilliant mentality and the proper mentality for this club. And I think, Ronaldo will bring that leadership that maybe we've lacked in recent seasons. We do need that leadership. So yeah, for me, I think Ronaldo, if he doesn't score on the pitch, he's always, a leader, someone that can G up the players, someone who can, really be a voice in that changing room. The one thing I would say is that I'm not sure what I think about him kind of conducting the play from the sidelines. I know Rio Ferdinand spoke about it a little bit, and obviously Solskjaer commented on what Ferdinand said about Ronaldo standing up and kind of conducting play. But I mean, for me, I just feel like let the manager do his job. I know he obviously did it in the Euros final where he got subbed off and they won the game. But I do think that it's important to let the manager do his job. So as long as on the ball and Ronaldo's not getting in the way of his job, then I'm happy for him to do whatever he wants. But it's in the way of the manager's job. That's the main thing. Because no player is bigger than the manager. And once a player becomes bigger than the manager, things start to go wrong, as we've seen. And Naveen says, bro, those Van de Beek slide tackles and shoulder-to-shoulder challenges, forward passes, come on, man. He's miles ahead of Fred. Ollie, friggin' start Van de Beek instead of Fred. I think we're all hoping that happens, but I think in our hearts we know that isn't going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. But it's a good thought, isn't it? It's a good thought. Connor says, Spurs to win 3-0. I tell you what, though, Spurs' form lately hasn't been brilliant, and Arsenal have won their last couple of games, so I think that won't be interesting. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said Spurs 5-0. I really would have said that bad of a defeat for Arsenal, but recently they've got a little bit of confidence, so maybe just maybe they'll do alright. Sorry about my voice, by the way, it's getting a bit dry. And the final comment of today's stream before we wrap it up says, I'm confident McTominay ain't scoring, says Matthew. So there we go. There is the quote, so we can just screenshot that, take a picture of that. And he also said that if McTominay does score, he will walk to Leeds. So I'm sure we'll show you that in some capacity on the YouTube channel or even our social media channels if that does happen. But thanks for watching, everyone. Really do appreciate it. Hit that like button if you aren't already. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Another big thank you to all of you guys for helping me and this channel to 900 subscribers. We really do appreciate your support. If you're watching on a video and didn't manage to catch the live stream, don't worry. Leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I want to hear what you guys have to say on the game going into it, who you think is going to start, who's your starting 11, and what's your score prediction going to be for this one. And if you want to check out all the channels I mentioned in the stream, Rich Sports, Daz's Football Stand, and Yang Talking Smack, make sure to check out all of those channels as well. They'll be all in the live stream, so make sure you do check them out, subscribe to them. Great friends of mine and brilliant content coming out of those channels. But thank you very much for watching. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much, guys. Really do appreciate it. Hit like, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new, and we'll see you next time.